everybody, this is Jim. Hey, welcome to another episode of Truth Seeking Souls, where we discover and discuss deep within matters that matter the most. And I love to invite intuitives, and I have with me a young man who I've known for a very, very long time, but we just reconnected just recently. And David Groode, you are, correct me if I'm wrong, you're a life coach, I would imagine. You focus on transformation. Maybe you can better explain than me.
Yeah, I do. Thanks, Jim. It's first of all, thank you for having me. It's so great to be on here and so great to be reconnected with you.
Likewise.
So yes, I do numerology, intuitive readings, personal coaching, which is like a life navigation coaching in the way that I do it. And transformation. I want to talk about transformation because so often we find ourselves back at square one. How did I get back here to square one? It's like a bad repeating pattern for some of us. And yet, we all get to start with where we find ourselves, to acknowledge and be honest about where we're at, where we would love to be, and what it would take to get there, and what's missing from that formula, and also to be honest about the reoccurring patterns that we continually can find ourselves in certain areas. And it's really amazing because, like, when I look at my own numerology chart, I see where the reoccurring patterns show up because of they're completely connected to the karma numbers in my numerology chart.
That is fascinating. So, but wouldn't it take a person with a certain degree of awareness to know where they're at? Because I'm sorry, with social media, with all this stuff that's happening in the world, I don't even think people are aware that they're even alive. I mean, they're alive, but I'm just saying, I don't think they're as aware. So I guess they need a coach like you.
I think we all get to check in with ourselves and ask ourselves honestly if we have a healthy relationship with technology, or are we completely sucked into it like a vacuum. And I think it's important to have technology breaks and, live life too and not be on technology all the time. Now, I'm a little bit of a hypocrite when I say that because I am on my phone a lot, but I do turn it off sometimes when I go to do art or walk the dogs. I don't bring it and things like that. And at the gym, I turn it off. So there's definitely technology breaks. And as far as being self-aware to be able to notice those things, that takes practice. That takes practice to take a moment out and stop and look at where we're at and honestly observe and witness and assess ourselves in those areas.
And so what is the ultimate goal for your purpose? Like I sense that you make people aware of where they are at the moment or where they are in their lives. Where do you take them? What goes on with the sessions that you go through?
Okay, I'm going to sum it up in a few words, okay?
Okay.
I am definitely a creative awakener.
Mm-hmm.
So I come in and interrupt people's thinking about what they believe to be possible for themselves and where they are in their lives. And I completely come in and disrupt those patterns and support people to rewire themselves into creating other possibilities that change their whole trajectory.
Okay. And you mean rewire, meaning I guess, just trying to think differently.
To think differently, to perceive differently, to look at things a little bit differently about what they're filling their days with and all the distractions that are occurring and who else they believe they need to be managing.
Right.
Which is an avoidance to, getting their own things done sometimes.
Okay. And so, say we have a situation where, like, big problem I have with the younger generation, Generation Z, is that they are on their phone all the time. And it's to the point where they will travel. Like if they live 30 minutes away and I'm still in school and they forget their phones, they will travel 30 minutes back to get their phones because they just can't be without it. But I'm not talking about that right now. What I want to know, okay, is the way the world is right now, okay, with all the wars and all the craziness and the slaughtering. What does that? How do you? The belief that you ought to be the change you are in the planet. So how does one get rid of stuff like racism and religiosism and just the fear of phobias all over? How would you? Why are we here? Why are we at this stage where we just kind of just don't like each other? Or I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading it wrong.
Well, everybody has an opportunity to grow themselves by changing their way of being or who they're being.
Okay.
Because who they're being may not be who they need to be to not only create what they want to create, but to become who they were meant to be. And any areas where we project onto other people or judge or blame other people and don't take ownership and responsibility for where we created it or attracted it, then that puts people into separation. It puts people into victim kinds of thinking, and it gives people an excuse to not have to make changes within themselves or to take responsibility for what's being created in our world.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, humanity has been lied to on so many levels.
Very.
And there's been so much that's been kept hidden from humanity. And those who are ready are shifting onto a better timeline that's connected to more of the fifth dimension.
Right.
That's moving towards that. And some people are so attached and entangled in 3D realities and structures which are dissolving that, those people are just going to be kind of in those structures for a while they're dissolving until they're ready to move forward towards the 5D. And so there's a great separation happening. It's like almost like a glass window between the people who are ready to really open and shift and live from their hearts and trust their hearts versus the people that are completely clinging on to 3D and who have a need to feel in control.
I think that's very interesting that you say, because the people who are clinging for control or maybe the people who are in control. Do you feel like the people who are in control right now, they are controlling the media, they're controlling the movies, the TVs, and they're controlling everything that's happening? But let's say, for instance, Arabs, okay? It just seems like there's the United States hates Arabs, but we were taught to do that.
That's been the narrative that's been promoted throughout the states at different times.
Right. And I have some of the most dearest, closest friends who are Arabs.
Absolutely.
And I've seen so many wonderful, beautiful Arab people who don't deserve that kind of. And I myself, being a brown skinned person myself, I was faced with that suspicion. People come up to me like, "Who is he? Are you?" When I walk into an airport or an airplane, people look at me. Oh no, what's he going to do? I just don't think that's very fair. But then there are people who are like yourself that say it's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, and narratives were created to create separation because people are easier to control when they're separated and pointing the finger at different people, rather than they wouldn't be able to control people so easily if people were unified.
That's very true. If we were unified, we would not be able to be controlled so easily.
And this country has not been unified. It's been divided politically. It's been divided, racially, as you were saying. It's been divided in so many different ways. And we get to work on healing that. We get to work on creating a bigger vision for unifying our people, not only in this country but in the world.
Yes.
I heard an analogy once. Someone said it. I forgot who said it. That as disclosure continues to open and happen, and we realize there's other extraterrestrial races living in the universes besides us, and we establish contact with them because many of them are already here and we just don't realize it and see it yet or perceive it, that we have to be able to get along with people that are very different from us or have different values or thinking than us without having the need to make them wrong just because we don't agree with it or they don't agree with us.
Do you think that's also part of the ego? I'm right, you're wrong.
Totally. Totally part of the ego.
And at that point, like, how do you work with someone like that and tell them we can all be right in a certain... I was wondering, because, I mean, that's really what's the most frustrating about, I see, with certain ideologies and certain religious groups. I am right. I'm the chosen people. My God is better than your God. My prophet is better than your prophet.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has different life experiences, and so we can all learn something from everyone because our life experiences are all different. Doesn't matter what station in life, someone is. We can all learn something valuable from everybody.
And the intuitive part of me is telling me that you do this, you, David, do this. But it's quite obvious that you have to work with people who are ready to see that. And as probably it's a little bit amount of people at a time. It's not going to be this great big thing because people are so into their thoughts and into what they're used to, I would imagine. So we got to get little at a time and just be patient, I would imagine.
It usually happens when people have a lot going on and they want more clarity, like someone outside to look in, or when people are going through a lot of changes, or when they're really ready to create something different.
Mm-hmm.
And, we all have nothing to lose by doing the inner work. Because, I've told people this before, that we spend years on the inside dreaming up and creating our perfect careers, our dream homes, our dream vacations, our dream relationships that seem ideal. We spend years on all of that on the inside before it shows up on the outside. So the inner work is way more high value than everyone might imagine.
Oh my God, I couldn't agree with you more. It's all about the inner work. I mean, there are people who live as paupers, but they are so at peace with themselves and so happy.
And more wealthy than people who have a ton of money because they have everything they they're wealthy inside.
They're wealthy inside. Yeah. There's some really powerful. I mean, I guess the last scene of that Christmas movie, I guess, what do you call it? I forget that movie. Anyways, let's go backwards a little bit. But I mean, I've seen stories where people kind of have absolutely very little, but yet they show a lot. They're at peace. And I'm envious of them. I'm very, very envious of them.
So when we talk about transformation, I think it's important to bring in the question about what would keep people off being on their best timelines. Okay? And one of the things I'd like to say about that is addictions.
Yeah.
When people are run by addictions and plugged into their addictions, they love their addictions more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
They're run by their addictions. Now, that's not going to help them to get onto their best timeline.
And I want to clarify, people are also addicted to hate. I mean, when we say addiction, we don't want to say alcohol or sex or drugs or any of that. But but people can be addicted to hate.
Yeah, and here's a really interesting one. A lot of people who watch the news all the time and don't give it up.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people can be addicted to drama.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And that's how the news. I don't watch the news, by the way. I just listen to podcasts all day. But I'm just saying that when I do watch these ideology-based news, okay, like MSNBC and Fox, the way they present the news, they really evoke the emotion. They really hit you deep inside. It's like I'm going to make you hate this person. I'm going to make you love this person. I would imagine your job is to kind of get them aware. Hey, these people are poison.
Yeah, but some people don't know how to create relationships or with people that are not dysfunctional or not toxic because that's all they've ever known.
That's very true. They find them boring.
Sorry, I have people outside talking loud.
I can't hear it, so it's okay.
Okay. So, yeah, I help people to recognize certain things that create certain patterns and thinking that create certain results, and how they can change their perceptions about it and thinking around it to create different results. But I also want to say people miss the high value of the process, because I really believe the process is golden. We can learn so much more from the process than attaining the result.
Absolutely. The journey's better than the destination.
Oh, the journey is amazing. It shows us how we learn. It shows us, how we move through things.
I would imagine so. And I wish more people realize that.
And the thing is, there's so many moving parts in life. So people are dealing with all of these moving parts and really taking a lot on, doing their best to create with it all and manage it all.
That's, and those are the people who really are able to come to grips with what they are. I mean, I'll admit, I get angry a lot. I listen to the news. I get angry a lot, and I get sad a lot.
Well, there's things that could make anyone who's on a conscious path frustrated.
Yeah. How does one know that they're on a conscious path?
They're committed to giving their best. They're committed to being conscious of what they're doing and how they're doing it, and to improving other people lives and the world.
Okay.
And they're present. They're very present.
Mm-hmm. And what about
And they're working on presence all the time.
presence? Right. And presence meaning centered.
Yeah, being present, being in their body, being landed, you know.
The here, the now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's very challenging. And do you follow any kind of like religious practice, or are you Eastern philosophies?
I really like things from different religions. I was brought up Jewish, but not in the super religious sense, other than believing in God, like the May the Force be with you in Star Wars, like God being a higher intelligence and light, and love. And yet, there's valuable things in all different religions and traditions. I kind of just practice the religion of love, in a sense, to hold the space of love and to be a good person in whatever way I can. Am I perfect? No. I get frustrated sometimes or impatient. And the other thing is, there's certain spiritual paths I've really connected with, if you're asking me about that. I studied a lot of shamanism. I used to take groups to Peru to work with the shamans. I really like Gurdjieff and fourth way work. And I've done that. I'm still doing that. That's done in groups usually. And it's about working on being more present and conscious and not out to lunch and asleep. The thing is, people think they're conscious, but if we really look at our lives, and we can see how unpresent we've been so much of the time, that how asleep we are, and how far away we are from everything we're really committed to creating and connecting with. Like, wow, how did I get so far away from those things that were so close to me? Maybe I've changed. Maybe something in me has changed.
And so who are your typical clients? What kind of people go to you for leadership, I guess?
I really get the whole gamut. I get a lot of entrepreneurs, therapists, like psychologists, lawyers, housewives, creative people. That would be a good description of a lot of them.
And so you basically just meet with them once in a while, or phone consultations?
When they feel they want to work with me, unless they want to do some ongoing work with some coaching, which puts people kind of on an accelerated path.
Okay. How does one contact you? Because we like to promote you as a coach, or if you want that.
People can look at my website, which is Inner, INNER, Precision, PRECISION.com.
Love it. That's a great website. Sounds like
people can text me 1 for the US 707-548-7500. But please put your name in the text, because I get a lot of spam texts.
Yeah, me too. Delete. So you mentioned US, so you've got international clients?
Yeah, I lived in Australia for several years, and I do get a lot of international clients. On a busy week, I might have people from 6 different countries.
Wow.
On Zoom. But, this is the kind of work where sometimes there's a ton of work, and other times it's like not as much, and it just goes in cycles.
I would imagine that you have a whole gamut and in different degrees. I would imagine there's some clients that you have are further along than others. And
There's sometimes I have people like, wow, I should be paying them for the session because they're just so amazing.
Mhm. But do you have people who are, I guess, in a way, really, really lost? I mean, really struggling in many ways. Because I'll tell you this, as a high school teacher, I see that a lot. I mean, I've received 2 suicidal videos from students. This was years ago. Fortunately, nothing happened, but I'm just saying that there are a lot of hurting individuals. So I don't think it's limited to teenagers. I'm sure it's also inclusive to adults.
I don't think people have a lot of tools always to clear and process their deeper emotional programming and mental programming.
Mm-hmm.
And when that gets all clogged up, that can be very overwhelming for people.
Yeah.
And do I get lost people? Sometimes, but then we look at what's real, what's really real, what's important, what's really going to make a difference for this person and what they need to respond to. And that's the other thing about transformation is it's responding to things.
Mm-hmm. Responding to things. So I would imagine when you say responding to things, to not
It moves us forward as we're able to respond.
so you learn from whatever stimuli that forces you to respond. Is that what you're
Yes.
saying? So in other words, everything is a learning experience.
Yes.
Okay, well that is just
So
absolutely
let me say it this way.
okay.
People ask sometimes, well, how can you see things intuitively about people through their numerology charts or when they ask questions about their lives? And my response is, we are all on a ride that's already occurring. But if we can become conscious on that ride, we can choose more of our material that we can work with. Otherwise, if we're unconscious, it just gets chosen for us.
So we got about 5 minutes. What is numerology?
Numerology is like a GPS, is how I would like to say it.
Uh-huh.
It's like a map of based on someone's birthday and name. So month, day, and year of birth and name at birth. And through that, I can do a whole chart, like an astrology chart, only it's numbers. And it tells me about the different cycles people are working with, what their karma, what areas their karma would show up, what's wanting to open and happen on a soul level for them, what they're here to learn, what they're here to become.
And what numbers are we talking about? Their birth, the time they were born?
No, not the time, just the month, day, and year, and the name at birth.
Okay, and you can tell, I guess,
a lot
just by
because I say the numbers don't lie.
okay.
I don't need it, but it's like having a GPS to work with, like when you're making on a journey somewhere.
And
you don't have to use the GPS unless you choose.
Right. And so what do you, well, like the numbers, what do you compare it to? Is it like how the stars align, how the planets align? What
It would be like an astrological chart only with numbers.
Okay.
And it's just a different view, a different way of like pulling out certain information and looking at the cycles and what's at play. My numerology teacher, Gail Marie Sprague, used to say that God geometrizes, that God communicates in geometric forms and symbols. I think they said that in Faith Javane and Dusty Bunker's books too. But it's a really interesting saying because people call me sometimes and they say, oh, I've seen this number pop up so many times. Why is it popping up so much? What does it mean?
Wow. So that is definitely very educational. Well, with that, Mr. Groode, I want to thank you so much I'm absolutely blown away by the information, and I learned a lot. But although I have a lot more questions, and hopefully you'll agree to come back on.
I'll come back on anytime.
I'd love that.
I'm always in your fan club and have
I'm in yours.
So much high regard and respect for you, and think that you are absolutely a blessing and gift in this world. So thank you.
Thank you, and you are too, sir. So with that in mind, we'll have David's information on our website, and we'll repeat this. We're on YouTube and on Apple and Spotify. So
and I'm happy to send it out. Just send me the link.
Please do. So thank you, David, for a wonderful session. I want to thank you so much.
Thank you.
And namaste, and have a great night. Thank you. Take care.
Okay.